third dimension.
This is 3D or 2D.com's Duh 3D Show.
Put on your 3D glasses now.
If you're wondering what the 3D stand for, they are discussion, debate, and the news. We hope that you enjoy the show. Get it? The show? Hello. Welcome to episode 94, The 3D Show. I'm Adolph Vega. I have with me Classic Jake.
Howdy, folks.
And today we have quite a few topics to talk about. It's been a while.
Yeah, things move slowly in the apocalypse.
It's weird because, it's been a while, but it's not been a while. It feels like so much news has happened within the last week that before that, it was like a trickle, and it's like just one thing here. And now, all these things popped up, so Jake, I'll let you decide what you want to talk about first.
I guess we need to talk about Wonder Woman 84.
Warner Brothers, we were thinking that it was going to be announced sooner or later, that Warner Brothers was going to cave and just delay it or something. And they kind of cut the baby in half, and they're going to still release Wonder Woman 1984 on Christmas Day 2020. As of right now, we'll see what happens in a couple weeks if that changes, but I don't see that changing. And Wonder Woman 1984 will be on HBO Max, day and date, and for no additional fee.
Yeah, take that, Disney.
Basically, that's a big part of that. Disney, this is a FU to Disney, I think.
Yeah?
This is teaching Disney, we're going to play our biggest movie of the year. We're going to put it day on date and streaming. And anyone in the world that doesn't have HBO Max, you could still, in theory, depending where you live, go to the theater and see it. I don't advise it, but in theory, you could.
Or you could be like poor me and have a Roku, and HBO Max is not available via Roku. Gee, thanks.
That's a weird aspect that HBO Max got onto many platforms, but not some of the more popular ones. I think they just put on Fire TV like a week or two ago, and now Roku is still not there. But if you have the HBO app on your phone, you can beam it over or something. I don't know. So it's a little bit weird how it's not everywhere right now.
Yeah. And right now, my state's in serious lockdown, as well as most of the other states on the West Coast. So I don't think there's an open movie theater within over 500 miles of me right now. Anyway, and not that I would really want to go. I mean, I got lucky a few times, and I was able to go to screenings that had next to nobody in them, with people that actually gave a shit and were wearing masks, and I had a UV wand with me so I wand my whole section.
So, one thing I do also want to know, if you are an AT&T person, like you actually have AT&T cellular phone, you may get a plan, or you may be available to get a plan that has HBO Max for free. So, throwing that out there. If if you haven't changed your AT&T cellular plan in a while, you may want to, call them up and say, hey, I got this new unlimited plan or whatever. And, because that's something that, different carriers have. Like Verizon has a deal where they give you Disney Plus Hulu bundle for free if you get their thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and T-Mobile has Netflix, or at least for now. I don't know if they're going to still have it with Netflix raising their prices again.
So, were you surprised that this was actually still supposed to release? That they didn't just move it to next year, or no?
A little bit. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they cancel. I have a feeling they're going to probably stick with the streaming release, but I would be surprised if the theatrical release happens.
I mean, right now, as we're recording this, the numbers are skyrocketing for COVID-19, and it is the worst it's ever been in America. And it's not really, I'm not trying to over-exaggerate or anything. It literally is the worst it's ever been.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to explode again. Almost everybody I know, they bitch and bitch about their families to the point I think they damn well hate them, but they insist on going to Thanksgiving every year to be insulted by their family.
So Wonder Woman, I'm still super excited to see it. I just, it's really hard to justify going to the theater right now. I have HBO Max right now, so I can watch it when it comes out, and it's going to be a double feature for most families because you could watch Wonder Woman 1984, and then you could watch, if you have Disney Plus, Soul after or before, so you could do double dip. So the only reason, I think, I mean, look, I'm I'm a cinephile. That's why I made the website. I love movies, but it's hard to justify going to a movie theater for 2D. So it's going to be really hard to not go to the theater unless it's the 3D, there. And we want to review this as soon as possible, but it is hard to find tickets for 3D movies anyway. I just checked Fandango for Croods 2, and none of my local theaters have an option to watch it in 3D. And my theaters are still open, so I can still go to a theater today if I wanted to. I'm not going to, but I don't know how we're supposed to review these movies in 3D if they don't come out. We had this problem before. Remember, Jake, that so many
Yeah.
movies didn't have 3D releases in America,
Mm-hmm.
or if they did, it was super limited the first 2 weeks and that's it. And now I don't know if we're gonna get it at all. And if it's not 3D, I mean, it's hard to justify going out on Christmas Day to a theater. Usually Christmas Day, I kind of like going to theater with my family. That was a tradition we had for a long time. But, I can't justify that now. So it's hard. It's really hard, and can't promise that we're going to keep reviewing things in 2021 if they're not in 3D. I don't want to do that forever.
Yeah, and right now, all theaters in my state are shut down, including drive-ins. Not that you could see a 3D movie at a drive-in, but and it looks like a lot of them aren't coming back. So I'm starting to think we may be watching the death throes of the theater industry as a mainstream thing. It's looking like it's going to go the way of arcades, where they only exist as a little specialty niche market.
Or CDs.
Or DVDs or Blu-rays for that matter.
And I'm imagining that the time is coming very soon where discs are gone. And I'm sorry, I know that sounds crappy, but look, if you're gonna have Wonder Woman 1984 on HBO Max, it doesn't do you any good to you want those subscribers because guess what? If you get to watch it on Blu-ray, you're going to watch it on Blu-ray. You're not going to watch it on HBO Max, but you could get those subscribers in, and that's how you justify, having it on there. It's awesome that you don't have to pay anything extra, but it's still they want those subscribers to be on there so that you could see it. So there's no incentive anymore, to get the disc out there. There's fewer people buying discs right now, I think, than ever
Oh,
before.
definitely. I'm also wondering if Hollywood is going to spend these big bucks, spending hundreds of millions of dollars on movies that aren't going to have the chance to make $1 billion plus in a theater. Are they going to be willing to spend that kind of money to make streaming content? Or are we going to go back to, or are we going to just see really cheaply made, quickly made movies?
Yeah, that's actually a really good kind of thing to think about because, look, obviously, any movie that they already started production, they're going to finish it out because it doesn't make any sense to quit a movie halfway through if you can. If it's a big franchise, absolutely they're going to do everything they can to make it work. If it's a small movie, it costs them a lot of money, they may not. But they want to do that now. And in the future, let's just say 2 years from now, you know, right now we have potential vaccines that could come into play within for regular public. What is it? Maybe the spring, maybe early summer, and okay, so 21 might be halfway decent and the people start to get into comfortable, beginning to normal again. But 22 is going to be the real ball game, and a lot of the studios are going to be deciding, in the spring and in the summer of next year, is it worth it? Is it worth greenlighting, Jurassic Park 10, or whatever, Is it worth it? Is it worth it, or we're just going to put everything on streaming? So
I think it's going to depend, because, Tenet didn't do nearly as well as people thought it was going to, were hoping it was going to do. It made money, and I think Christopher Nolan is happy enough, but I don't think Warner Brothers is particularly that excited.
Now, this actually segues really well to another topic, that Disney in themselves are reconsidering theatrical releases for Peter Pan, Cruella movie, and a Pinocchio movie. They may just go directly to Disney Plus. They haven't announced it yet. I did read it on Deadline that they're considering it. But if Disney's out, basically everyone else is out.
Pretty much, yeah. But to be fair, these movies that were in the pipeline were the type of movies that movie audiences are kind of getting tired of paying big bucks to see live action remakes of animated Disney fare. Because there's been a real mixed bag.
And Peter Pan and Pinocchio have had several kinds of those movies come out within the last 20, 30 years. So they're not like super sought after, I think. I feel like there's been so many of them that people don't care anymore that much. And Cruella, I just don't understand how people are going to... How are you going to make a movie about a villain that wants to kill puppies and have that be really likable?
Yeah, considering her main defining trait was her puppy coat.
And, it was actually kind of interesting, back then. That was not a it was different. Now, with PETA and, just people treating animals better than they have, I think.
Oh, yeah. People are having fits about the wanting to cull the minks because they've spread what they call COVID-20.
Yeah, and so it's interesting. Those, none of those movies I think would have made $1 billion anyway. I think all of them could have been decent successes, but I think they're all in the same range of a Dumbo, where it was a failure, but it wasn't a massive failure. It just underperformed, and if they're going to put that on Disney Plus, then they move on. But it's going to be interesting to see how things play out, and it's really... I wasn't expecting actually any more movies to come out this year. I think The Cruise was going to be it, and after that, they were just going to cancel the rest of the year, and I'm stunned that it actually is happening.
Oh, it's hope springs eternal. Everybody's trying to hedge their bets from their gambles and brace for impact and try to salvage anything. But I'm afraid this last year was a total wash because the U.S. in the U.S. at least, because they completely mishandled the pandemic to the point that I think when the new administration takes over, that we're going to have to start all over and go through this all over again from step one.
And it's a lot of administration to get a vaccine created and distributed within the entire country and the entire world. So it's not going to be an easy process.
We know the vaccine works. We don't know how long it works.
Yeah, I think the first one said you may need a booster after 3 weeks, and the other one I don't know about. But obviously, it looks great right now. It looks fantastic. And they didn't rush it out before the election, so I feel good about it. But I also, the study, they had pretty good numbers, but, You never know. Once you get up from 10,000 people or 100,000 people, when you start doing millions of people, billions of people, what side effects happen?
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard. I just imagine Wonder Woman, is it really going to be something that people want to go to the theaters for? Where they make an account for HBO Max and watch it that day and then cancel it the next day? Is it going to be easily pirated and people not going to even bother to go to the theater for it? It's one of those things that's going to be so hard to see. I mean, in theory, Wonder Woman 1984 should have had a over $100 million opening. I don't see it making $100 million for the entire theatrical run.
Oh, and it seems like America, the one thing they were willing to do for COVID is stop going to the movies. They won't wear a mask, and they won't stop gathering, but they will quit going to the movies.
So, I mean, it might be really anemic numbers, like maybe get number one obviously for the week, but it'll be like 10 million instead of 100 million.
Well, I think it'll only be like 4 million, because that just seems like to be where the box office tops. It seems like they can get 10 million for the entire week for everything, but the number one movie can't break 4 million right now.
And there's competition, Jake, for Christmas. Another news story: the Monster Hunter movie is pushed up, which it was going to come out 2 days before New Year's, but now it's decided to go right up against Wonder Woman 1984 and released on Christmas Day as well, which I think this is insanity.
Which is why Wonder Woman is getting released early in China.
Yeah, but I mean, Monster Hunter, why? We haven't even seen the full trailer for this movie. Why? Just put it next year. I don't think there's a huge amount of people that are going to want to see this movie,
It's probably a contract reason. And they might also decide we've got nothing to lose. We got to put something in the coal mine, and we have to throw a bone to theaters to show them we care, even though they don't, and something we can afford to lose money on. So I think Monster Hunter is another canary in the coal mine.
It's just like, why go up against Wonder Woman? It seems like who else would go up against Wonder Woman in regular times? No one. Everyone would just back away because they know that's going to be the biggest movie of the week. And Monster Hunter, I mean, definitely there's a fan base. I'm not going to deny there's a huge fan base of Monster Hunter, mostly in Asian markets. Definitely there's a fan base in America too for the video games. But I don't think that's a huge, I don't think the games sell millions and millions each. They sell pretty, so it's hard to justify.
Most video game movies are terrible. I mean, they're not all Rampage.
So it makes no sense. It really makes no sense to have Monster Hunter come out this year. There's no hype for it. There's Wonder Woman, I can understand. They delayed this already a year. People really want to see it, but Monster Hunter, just delay it, man. Why?
And hasn't Monster Hunter come out on 3D Blu-ray in Asia anyway?
I don't know, but it's just so weird to imagine this, and it didn't need to happen. There's no reason why you're gonna put up the slaughter. It could just be a spring release or a summer release, or.
And this is further slitting the throat of 3D. Because I seriously doubt. Let's say a miracle happens and the West Coast opens up theaters for Christmas. I seriously doubt there'll be any of them screening 3D movies. I mean, I'm hoping. I am hoping.
So that's going to be impossible for us to do, because who is going to review them? Because we're going to try to stay with their families if we could, if it's safe. But having two 3D movies come out the same day, that, which theaters are going to have what? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't even know if there's going to be theaters in business within 500 miles of where I live. I mean, that's how bad it is.
And again, I don't know where it's gonna stream Monster Hunter after releases. If do they just want to release it and dump it now, and then have it for Redbox and hope for the best that
Yeah.
Redbox in spring of next year. But
Some of the stuff they may be releasing because to get to collect insurance, they may have to show a good faith attempt. I mean, these financing and stuff is so complicated. So I imagine some of the decisions being made right now are having to do with contracts, insurance.
it's just gonna be really hard for us to review both movies and have both movies. Is one cinema gonna have Wonder Woman in 3D and another one won't have it? They'll have Monster Hunter, or they won't have Monster Hunter in a bad time, and it's gonna be so hard for us. And two movies on the same day and on Christmas. Come on, man, give us a
And heck,
break. I'm fine putting up 2D only reviews if we have to, but we can't be doing that forever. What's the point of the website then?
exactly, I agree.
And it's like I can't justify doing this for more time if it's just going to be 2D movies only, because I don't want that. That's not why I made this website. It's not 2D or nothing. It's 3D or 2D, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. 3D is really suffering the brunt of this.
And it's for me, I have a 1080p TV and a decent soundbar. I don't need to see a movie in the theater. If it comes out on at home, fine. I have a really great streaming. I have a decent setup. That's good enough for me. I don't need to see a movie that's not 3D in the theater because I don't gain that much for it. I know people are like, "Oh, the experience." I have so many bad experiences in theaters. It's just like I have consistently good experience at home. That's better than gambling my life.
hmm Yeah, I think that's part of why America was so willing to ditch the theater in this pandemic because I think America was getting fed up with the cost of going to the theaters and the lowering of the quality of the experience of going to the theater.
So let's keep going here. You got anything else to
Yeah.
add or no?
No, I think we beat that horse deader than dead.
So, what do you want to talk about next?
Oh God, I don't know. I guess talk about the. Do you want to talk about the speculation on the Marvel movies?
Go ahead. Yeah, sure. What's going on with Marvel
Okay.
movies?
Well, there's speculation that Marvel and Disney are looking. They're probably gonna drop Black Widow on streaming, and it also looks like they've started filming. They're starting work on Black Panther 2 with
Yeah,
Ryan Coogler.
that's gonna start filming in 21 of July of 2021, and they're not going to try to CGI Chad Boseman into it, and they're not going to. I guess they're going to give it to his sister, which is something that is comical accurate. But how they're gonna explain that, that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and they don't even know what's going to get released yet or what their order is. It's going to be fun because we don't even know when. Because I think WandaVision's been pushed back again.
Yeah, it got pushed back to 21. I think it's February or I don't remember. Um,
Yeah, and Marvel's talking to Joaquin Phoenix yet again. Don't know what the role is. Heck, they're still talking to Keanu Reeves. So who knows if anything's going to happen with these conversations this time.
so yeah, WandaVision's not here, and part of the MCU is that everything's connected in theory, and having you have to have these movies released at a certain time, or else things don't make sense. And it's one of those things where they are banking a lot on Black Widow, and I don't know if that's gonna make sense. If you don't watch Black Widow, are you gonna be lost for the Eternals? Or there's supposed to be some kind of big revelation in Black Widow that changes the MCU forever. I don't know what, but okay.
Okay.
And so this year, 2020, is going to be the only year in the last 10 years that there's no new Marvel movies coming out, and the Marvel TV shows. I mean, technically speaking, the final season of Agents of Shield came out, but they're not connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe at all. They're its own little bubble now. So I enjoyed the final season. It's really crazy and out there, but it is also just out there now.
Yeah.
It's not directly connected like it was the first 2 seasons or 3 seasons. So no content for MCU for this year. That's so weird to imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, and also supposedly as soon as James Gunn is finished with the Peacemaker TV show, he's supposed to start pre-production on Guardians 3.
Man, that's gonna be like 3 years out before they start filming
Probably.
it.
Yeah,
Uh,
but James Gunn is one of these filmmakers that can walk and chew gum at the same time, so he can do it.
so let's keep going here. We got some weird news about Fantastic Beasts 3 that Johnny Depp is no longer going to be a main character in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be a cluster and a half.
Because, yeah, Fantastic 2, he was a major character in that movie as Grindelwald.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
how are they going to rewrite this? I don't know.
Yeah, because the first one, the reveal was that Colin Farrell's character Johnny Depp was just pretending to be that person. But they can't get Colin Farrell because he's right now very busy doing the Batman movie with Matt Reeves and is unavailable. They've been talking to the actor Mads Mikkelsen. Probably, I mean, he's a great actor, but he's mostly a TV actor. I imagine they're talking to him because, see, they still have to pay Johnny Depp his 8-figure salary. So they're probably trying to find somebody who's not as expensive, but who's a good actor.
Now, the reason why he was let go, I don't understand. I mean, the internet, I've seen a lot of things on Reddit saying that it's because of his wife or ex-wife, and it's like, huh? And then apparently, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay, I'll explain it. Okay, Johnny Depp sued a tabloid. He's also suing his former wife. But the court case in Britain, the judge ruled against him in favor of the tabloid and basically said that the tabloid basically told the truth when they called him a wife beater. So now he has been ruled in a court a domestic abuser. So that's why Warner Brothers let him go, because there is a court. Now, this is having an effect on Aquaman, because there's been stories that Amber Heard's participation in the second Aquaman movie is being cut to a bare minimum. And if something happens and a court rules on her, like if Johnny Depp wins his case against her, she's gone.
Now, isn't there a lot of rumors saying that she actually beat up Johnny Depp?
Oh, there's an audio tape that she confesses to beating him up. I mean, apparently the judge in England didn't hear this, or it wasn't admissible in that case. But I was of the opinion, man, I didn't know what to think. This was all horrible, but, you believe people when they say stuff, and that's what I did. And then Amber Heard turns around and says that she made this shit up and was mad at him, and I'm like, whoa.
So yeah, I don't know what to really believe, and I don't know who really is a bad person. Just try not to do violence. Try not to. So it's just kind of a mess.
Yeah, and Johnny Depp went to court in England and got ruled against. And this happens, and Harry Potter movies, people forget, are British productions. So what happens in a British court carries a lot more weight to a Harry Potter movie than it would for an American production.
Now, isn't he actually kind of hard to work with too? So it's not like that easy to work with him, I think, or something like that. I don't know.
I've never heard any bad stories about him.
I don't know. It's one of those things. It's a mess, and I hate to comment one way or another because I don't know the whole story, and I don't know if any one of us really know the whole story.
I'm getting tired that this tabloid nonsense is having a direct effect on what movies we get and when we get them.
It's we're might be the only two people that actually really like that movie too. The second Fantastic Beasts, I think, was a way better movie than the original Fantastic Beasts, and I really liked him in this movie. So it's sad, and I don't know how they're gonna fix this movie.
Hell, that's the least of their problems. I mean, J.K. Rowling, what? She has lost her damn mind.
Yeah, J.K.'s crazy now. I'm sorry.
I mean, what in the hell? I'm like going, what is this? I mean, she's an author. She should know the difference between sex and gender. But she makes all these asinine anti-trans statements that are like, what the... Just be quiet. Just be quiet. Please be quiet.
Yeah, I don't understand J.K. at all. You know, just live and let live. How is that so hard? Just accept people for what they want. It's just not that hard.
Quit acting like a Death Eater.
It kind of just makes it. I don't know. It's hard, and how this movie makes sense anymore. I mean, the second movie didn't do that well, and people don't like that movie. So it's one of those things. It's like, are they going to continue this franchise because they have a 5-movie contract, or they're going to try to force everything into the third one and just kind of call it a day and move on? I don't know.
Actually, if they were smart, they'd just move. They would just do a Grindelwald Dumbledore love story on HBO Max. Saying.
It's just so much drama.
This is not the kind of drama we want in our cinema. We want the drama on the screen, not behind the screen.
Amen.
I'm just tired. 2020, enough already.
You know what could cheer you up?
What?
I don't have a good segue. Let's talk about Tom and Jerry.
Yay!
So we got a new trailer for the new semi-live action Tom and Jerry movie. I don't know. The Tom and Jerry are cartoons. Everyone else is a human, but no one else says anything about this. So, what do you think of this trailer?
It was fine. It's a cartoon. It's Tom and Jerry. It's fine.
Some people don't like the animation. I think it's fine. I think it's a good way to update the characters to not be too different, but then to have a style that is semi-3-dimensional.
Yeah. I mean, look, Tom and Jerry has been one of those problematic cartoons because of the maid that was in. I mean, half the cartoons don't even air on television anymore because of
racist stereotype of the maid.
Types. Yep, exactly.
And then, people have problems with the violence and it just being so over the top. But I mean, I don't think it's that over the top compared to stuff now. I think back then, maybe, but...
It wasn't more... I mean, by modern audiences might be stunned at some of the violence in some of these. Kids would love it. I mean, I watched Tom and Jerry cartoons when I was a kid. I'm not going to say I turned out fine. Because that's such a cliche. But I don't think seeing cartoon cats and mice hit each other with frying pans didn't really do me any damage. Probably having to sit through the Watergate hearings did more damage than that.
Now, we don't know if this is a stereoscopic 3D movie or not. I think it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say it is because I mean, the Top Cat remake was, which I don't even think got a real U.S. release.
I mean, this was supposed to come out earlier this December and in 2020, but they just pushed it back, and now it's March, I think.
Yeah, and it's probably going to wind up going straight to streaming.
I mean, they did say theaters in the trailer, and they didn't mention 3D. So, I mean, it looks okay. It looks like completely what do you expect a Tom and Jerry movie to be? Nothing of substance and just kind of excuses for violence and with a forgettable plot about a hotel and Jerry being having to be exterminated by Tom.
Yeah, they can't decide in Tom and Jerry. Are they friends, enemies, frenemies?
And like none of the humans acknowledge that they're cartoons. They're just like, whatever.
Yeah, like I said, it's just basic.
So, I mean, I heard that it was supposed to be a 3D movie, but I don't know it anymore. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what's changed? But I would prepare for lots and lots of animated movies because it's really easy to make animated movies in social distance.
I mean, this is a live action animated combo, and on Wikipedia, which obviously Wikipedia is not a super awesome source, but I mean, they're a decent first source. They do say here it is scheduled to release in real 3D. So, I mean, Wikipedia is a good source in some ways, but they do have references, but it's also one of those things that, editing and stuff, people can edit. So, I don't know, but it's one of the, I don't know. It kind of seems like a forgettable movie that you kind of, oh yeah, we saw Tom and Jerry, and then a month later, oh yeah, there's a Tom and Jerry movie coming out. Oh, I already watched it, which is kind of sad because I feel like Scoob was actually a pretty good movie. Like they actually had a good heart to it, and they put effort into this. And this seems like, all right, let's make it live action and make the
Yeah, and they did a lot of world building.
Yeah, Scoob was a nice movie. This doesn't look as good as Scoob. This looks like a 6 out of 10 at best.
Yeah. hmm It just looks like something parents would put on to babysit their kids.
Yeah. And I mean, the violence is not going to be gory, so that's not too bad. But it is the cartoony, silly violence, With
hmm
so whatever. It seems okay. I wouldn't be surprised. You're right. If this just goes, if depending on where the pandemic is in March, if Warner Brothers just says HBO Max this too.
Yeah. They're probably going to wait a while because they might think it might drive subscriptions. So they're not going to put it out anytime near Wonder Woman 84.
Well, it's supposed to come out March 5th, 2021. So
Yeah, that's far enough away. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to HBO Max.
yeah, I can imagine that Warner Brothers would probably be deciding this again in February,
hmm
and be like, "All right, are we doing this or not?" How are things the theaters in February? Which I can't imagine it'd be that much better than now. So, yeah, some VIPs may have the vaccine, but not the general population. I don't think. But who knows? Maybe things will change. Maybe things will get better. I don't know. It's hard to say. So it's hard to know
Yeah,
if this is coming out. So yeah, it's 94 episodes. We're getting to the 100, and not gonna happen this year.
yeah. There's not enough material unless you want to hear us ranting and raving about the election. It may be settled by the time 100 rolls around.
We'll see.
No, this is nothing. Uh, if you're old enough, just think back to 2000. And if you're not, Google the US 2000 election and prepare to weep. That was a cluster. God, that was a mess.
Yeah, and that was justifiably a mess. I don't think this is justifiably a mess.
This is there's one side that's deliberately trying to mess up the waters.
Anyway, so yeah, depending on how things are, this might be the last one of 2020. Last 3D show. Just you gotta see what things pop up. You never know. Some weeks there's not one thing in news, and sometimes there's a bunch. So we'll try to do more stuff, but can't guarantee anything. And you know, I guess that's gonna be it for us for this podcast. Do you have anything else, Jake, or you're good?
No, I think we're good.
We're just trying to survive, and
Yeah.
both physically and just to have a website that does 3D stuff survive, you know?
Yeah, we're trying to keep 3D going, and it's really hard right now.
I mean, we can only do so much, and if they're not giving us options to watch these movies in 3D, then we can't do anything. And, you know, I hate for the website to die because of this, not because, you know, I don't want the website to die, but I have to make a decision eventually. If things are not getting better and we've not seen any 3D movies, then what's the point? Hate to end things on a downer that way, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. What 3D? What do you think? Comment below. Are you excited for Wonder Woman to be on HBO Max? Are you going to not watch it in theaters? Just going to watch it on HBO Max, or are you going to try? Tell us in the comment.
Oh yeah, are you going to try to see it in 3D?
Comment below. Thank you again for listening and/or watching this podcast. Bye.
Bye, folks.
Before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank my patrons. Thank you, Kano3D and Mr. Bengal5 for your financial support on patreon.com. So that's going to be it for this podcast. Thanks for listening. You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Links are in the info box. If you want to send us listener mail, our email address is email3dortwo@gmail.com. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.